Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me again and welcome to a new dragging video. You guys, it's the first time in a long time that I've worn these Louis Vuitton Louisette earrings. I was looking at them today and I was like, God, I haven't worn these in a while. You know the whole thing about shopping your wardrobe or shopping your closet, whatever. I feel like it's such a mood because they feel so new to me. I haven't worn them in ages. I really like them. I don't know why I haven't worn them. I remember I bought these in the Champs-Elysees. Anyway, let's get started with Big C and her wig. Let's go here. Chanel New Bond Street in London. This is the fourth and final part of the branded dragging review videos. For customer service, they judge customers based on their dress code. And if you don't dress well, they don't care about you. Even if you ask for water, they'll make you wait and never come back. Shame on this luxury shop. Ooh, I don't know, girl. I wouldn't go to Chanel New Bond Street looking a mess. I'm quite happy with how my hair looks today and my Louis Vuitton Louisette earrings. I think I'll go in like this and with this top, but make sure I have a really nice skirt and nice shoes on and make an effort, you know, because I feel like they want you to make an effort. The next one is the Chanel one in Harrods in London. I purchased my wife's dream bag today. Sadly, the customer service we got was horrendous. The security guard was floating around us like we were thieves. They need to back the hell off and observe from a distance, not hang around. Next time we'll go to Bond Street. Don't go there! Rather than here. Rude, arrogant, completely ruined the vibes. Guys, you know, I've said it before. I've had my run-ins with security guards. I won't bore you with all the details. Many of you watch these dragging videos. You know, I've talked about experiences with security guards at Louis Vuitton, at BH, at Dior, you know, in department stores. Again, some of them, they just want to ruin your day. I would have paid him dust. I would have been there, happy, looking at items to buy. And if he's milling around, and and maybe I should just remind you guys the experience I had at one time at the Dior Avenue Montaigne, buying sunglasses and a notebook. And I was looking around. The man was following me everywhere. The SA goes to get the notebook. He is following me. He is my shadow. When the SA comes back, and she's like smiling and friendly and taking me to the cash wrap to go pay, I looked at him like, you know, you're stupid now. You know you look stupid, you know? And of course he left. So you can't let them ruin your day. I had a good time. I was in the Dior Avenue Montaigne flagship, honey. Okay, with Monsieur Dior has walked the streets of the Avenue Montaigne, okay, doing his thing. I am living my life. You're not going to ruin my day. And I think that that's what they should have done. You're in Chanel Harrods. Ignore him. Bye. Same location. The staff are rude and arrogant. They do not pay attention to customers. They judge how people look. Staff were talking when they're supposed to look for clients that are willing to buy. Unfortunately, a location like the Harrods Big C, once you've been to the Chanel Harrods, you know why the staff doesn't care. There's just too many people in and out of the department store milling around. There's too many people milling around, in and out. They don't care. And I think that I definitely got the feeling in Harrods, like they judge you based on the way you're dressed. That is a feeling that I've gotten before. At Harrods, like in general. Same location. What a disgrace for Chanel Harrods in London. Unfortunately, this was the worst clothing shopping experience of my life. The working staff don't know basic rules of communication with clients. SA number 1 who works here was really rude and said some rude things right before we were going to buy some shoes and made us feel really bad. I pointed this out that it was really rude. Instead of apologizing, he left. The manager did not try to fix the situation. Moreover, instead of protecting the client, they called the security of Harrods, who forced us to leave and forbade us from coming back. At the same time, my behavior was calm. I was only expecting a basic sorry. Is it hard to say? I was really shocked and stressed to see security. Can you imagine going to the Chanel shop to buy £2,000 shoes, ending up being forced to leave the store by security? I can't believe it. I still can't believe what happened. Oh, baby, listen. I am sorry, but you know, situations like this are very unpleasant. I actually believe that the client probably was calm, but I think it is confrontational. I actually believe the customer in this review. I'm actually on their side. However, I think where they made a mistake is when I think they made a mistake when he's like, he says that basically he pointed out how rude SA number 1 was, and instead of apologizing, he left. Now, I think we can infer from that, hey, that was really rude. Are you going to say sorry to me? I think that is confrontational. I think it's confrontational in a shop, particularly the way the Harrods shop is set up, to be like, hey, that's really confrontational. Are you going to say sorry to me? Or, hey, like, that was really rude. That's confrontational. That's not nice, nasty. Now, what the client should have done is nice nastiness always goes a long way. I would have been nice nasty, okay? But confrontational is different. Because if the CA could say, I felt threatened because he said I was really rude to him, but he shouted at me. Well, then now you're coming across threatening, like you're threatening the CA. Yeah, the security is going to ask you to leave. I think the client made a mistake being like, that was really rude, because they probably said something else. You know what I mean? I think there's a difference between being confrontational and nice nasty. You want to go for nice nastiness, but not being confrontational. The next one is the Chanel in Las Vegas at the Bellagio in America. The two essays at the Chanel store were really rude and unprofessional. As one does, I was walking and decided to stop into the Chanel boutique to look around. I saw a good photo opportunity, so I asked the security guard if it was okay, and he said it was fine, take a picture. These two essays noticed and start acting unprofessionally, making faces and clearly trying to be right in the photo to ruin the photo, basically. They were mocking us and laughing at us. I've never been treated like this, simply for taking pictures and being somewhere we were given permission to be. I wouldn't buy from them. I would like to add that these two essays were the only ones working who were bothered by photos. I don't know. I mean, I disagree that, like, walking in to, like, take a picture. I think it's one thing if you're standing outside taking a picture of the display. I think that's fine. Honestly, I wouldn't ask for permission for that. Just walk past and take a photo and leave outside. But I think going in and, like, taking pictures and you have no intention of buying, I don't know. I don't know about that, because I feel like now you're being a little bit delusional. I think you should expect them to feel kind of annoyed by that, because I think that does come across a little bit like, do you know, like, what this is for? It's not a museum for you to just come and take photos and stuff. That's why I always say, I think if you want to take photographs, just go to the department store. Department stores do not care how many pictures you take. They're more than happy for people to take pictures. The next one is the Chanel store in Las Vegas at Crystals in America. I had a disappointing experience with the fashion advisor. You know, essays in Chanel are called fashion advisors. And the product manager. Fashion advisor is called X, and the product manager is called Z. X was really rude and unprofessional. She lacked basic courtesy. I was simply trying to check if my iPhone Pro Max would fit into a bag. I was told they couldn't allow me to try it because it might damage the leather. This doesn't make sense how I can spend thousands of dollars on a bag without knowing if it suits my needs. To make matters worse, their 14-day refund policy feels restrictive, especially when they don't allow practical checks before buying. I expected far better service. They just didn't want to sell her the bag, because that's a reasonable request. You know, it's completely reasonable for you to be like, hey, I want to, like, just see if my phone fits. They just decide they didn't want to sell it to her. And we've been through this before. There are some of these luxury shopping essays who are like, I don't want to sell to you for whatever reason, because I don't like you and I want to make your day difficult and painful, and I'm going to do that. Same location. My experience here was really disappointing compared to other locations. We were not greeted by any of the essays. Majority of them were at the front door chatting to each other. The store wasn't busy, so I can't give them an excuse of helping other people. We came in with a few things to buy, but no one approached us. Keep in mind, we have been shopping at other shops, so we weren't empty-handed. Oh, okay, they came in. I don't think I'll be making purchases at this location moving forward. Sometimes when essays do this, I think it's like they're profiling the client to think if the client's going to buy or not. Because I don't understand not saying hello. Although for me, I wouldn't wait for the person to come and say hello to me. I think the correct thing for them to do is to say hi first, for sure. But that wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. I'd be like, oh, hey, I want to buy this. Can you help me? That's me. I think that there are some people who expect the red carpet to be rolled out for them. I do think it's odd that they didn't get that experience if they had other shopping bags, but not surprised. The next one is a French language review at the Geneva Chanel in Switzerland. I had a really bad experience at Chanel Geneva. I waited over 40 minutes without any essays coming to help. When I politely asked a woman, she said, I'm not an SA before going into a room. Finally, an SA with whom I'd already bought things before came, but he was really rude. No welcome, no offer of water or coffee, unlike other boutiques. I did buy a handbag worth over 5,000 Swiss francs and a pair of shoes, but instead of presenting them to me carefully, I was told, shall I put the handbag in a box, as if I was supposed to leave with a bag of that price in my hand? Unacceptable for a brand like Chanel. Yeah. Just like... Some of the SAs who work at these brands, I'm not on the SA side here because that is not right. She bought a bag, she bought a pair of shoes. I think you can wrap it up and put a camellia on it and some ribbons. But make some effort. Some SAs are just like, I'm tired. I don't want to deal with you. Okay, you're going to have to deal with me because I spent some money here. The next one is the same location, the Geneva, Switzerland one. My wife and I visited this boutique ready to make a significant purchase. However, the customer experience was really unworthy of a brand like Chanel. There are a lot of complaints about this particular store from a lot of clients. I wonder why it gets this really tough reputation. Same location. The SAs were disinterested, preferring to chat amongst themselves. There was no welcome, no attention, no glass of water, no coffee, nothing, which is standard practice. We decided to leave the store and received a very different welcome elsewhere. Chanel should review its staff training. I wonder if they don't want to offer drinks if they feel like you're not going to buy something. And I feel like they make that judgment. You're walking into the store. They're like, this person's not going to buy, so I don't want to say hello to them. I don't want to whatever with them because they're not going to buy anything. The next one is Chanel Munich. SA number 1 was the rudest SA I've ever dealt with at Chanel. Never in all my years shopping at Chanel. I was so disappointed that I actually walked out of the store. I came in planning to buy a wallet, bag, and ring, which I mentioned when we were greeted. Okay, so she's one of us. She said, I want to buy a handbag, wallet, and ring today. She's one of us. We started with wallets, and since I'm a little indecisive, I took my time browsing. Instead of being attentive, SA number 1 was barely present, then told me, suddenly, I should move on to bags because people were waiting in line. His tone was shockingly rude and condescending. When we were looking at bags, he wasn't assisting. He was on his phone, standing away from us. I even turned to my husband to ask if I was overreacting, and he immediately agreed that behavior was out of line. At that point, I couldn't imagine spending a single cent with the SA. I walked out empty-handed. I've shopped at many big C's worldwide. Never had an experience like this. This is the Chanel boutique in Munich in Germany. As I said, this is not nice. This person was dragged really hard. This is not pleasant. People waiting in line, the SA doesn't like dealing with someone indecisive. This person actually did everything right. I always say with a lot of these dragging reviews, people are annoying because they're not clear that they're buying something. At the door, she and her husband are buying a wallet, bag, and ring today. No, the SA is wrong. The SA is wrong for this. Same location. Our experience today was terrible. The lady who was assigned to us was very demeaning and rude. She was constantly wandering away from us to talk to her peers and put on lipstick. Her tone of voice seemed as if we weren't able to afford the bag. We received better treatment from the security guard. I expected better. What is going on with Chanel today? Chanel SAs are really wild. It is outrageous for you to be with a client and then to go away to top up your lipstick and the client is picking things out or something. That's wild. Same location. My wife and I had a layover at the airport in Geneva and my wife really wanted the boy bag. The sales assistant on the phone was nice enough but could not tell me whether or not the bag was currently in the inventory. So we spent £70. We took a £70 Uber to the shop to only be told the bag wasn't in stock. While it was an expense, the SA could have saved us by telling us the bag wasn't in stock. That would have helped us a lot. I don't know. I feel like with this one, you brought this on yourself. We all know they don't confirm inventory on the phone. And also, if you look at this dragging review, inventory wasn't confirmed on the phone. So it's I think it's a bit cheeky for you to be okay, I'm going to go based on an SA who hasn't confirmed that the boy bag is there. They don't confirm inventory on the phone. If we shop luxury brands, you know that. The next one is the Chanel boutique in Berlin in Germany. The staff is terrible. I work for a luxury retail brand too. It was really disappointing. Such a beautiful brand has bad employees. My worst experience, there was no politeness. I asked if she could show me fashion jewelry. She did, but no motivation. She literally threw it in front of me. In addition, her and her colleague kept giving us inappropriate looks. I felt really bad about my stay. Yeah, Chanel Berlin, baby. No, they don't care. There's so many top spenders at that store. sometimes like with like the fashion jewelry pieces or pieces that are more affordable, there's so much contempt that the brand itself has for the more affordable bits that maybe it does kind of filter through to the essays, because they're like, I'm just only selling fashion jewelry earrings, which are very expensive, by the way. The next one is the Chanel one, the Chanel boutique in Stockholm in Sweden. I had a terrible experience at the Chanel store today in Stockholm. The staff was incredibly rude and judgmental, making me feel unwelcome. This completely ruined what should have been a pleasant purchasing experience. Essay number one was one of the co-workers who stood out, making the experience feel awful. I wouldn't recommend this store. I don't know. Whenever people talk about their outfit, I feel like they knew they turned up looking a mess. And they're maybe kind of low-key trying to defend themselves, like in their heads, like why they were treated badly. I just feel like these flagship stores, it's worth making an effort with your appearance. I've said this many times before, especially if you're a black or brown luxury consumer. If you're from the Middle East, if you're from Asia, I think you should absolutely make an effort, because like people from minority ethnic groups are judged a lot in Western shops. I've had too many experiences with my husband. There is not enough time in the world to tell you all the experiences me and Edwin have had luxury shopping that I've never shared. Even forget the ones I've shared, the ones I've never shared. And the way you look is of paramount importance. If you Pegasus unicorn me in the comments, I'm going to block you. Okay? This isn't up for debate. This is actually just me stating a fact. You will be judged based on how you look. I think it's worth just making it the effort. The next one is the Chanel Cambon flagship in Paris in France. I visited this boutique expecting a pleasant experience, but it was really the opposite. The essays were unfriendly, came across arrogant and unhelpful. I did not feel welcomed or valued, which is disappointing. Customer service is really important. I think the problem with Cambon is people really, because it's a flagship store, and it means so much to Gabrielle, and her home is above the flat, and to this day the flat is still there. I think people really do love that so much, and they care about it so much that when they have a bad experience, it really hurts their feelings. The next one is the Chanel boutique in Monte Carlo in Monaco. Had a really bad experience at the Chanel in Monte Carlo. The staff should be replaced. They're ruining Chanel's image, and Essay served me, and since she didn't convince me to buy anything, she took the water out of my hands. They treated me terribly. I was leaving the store. They chased me all the way outside because I had the water. They made me feel like a thief just for not buying anything. Never going to Chanel again. Girl, bye. Why are you going to Chanel Monte Carlo if you're not buying anything? Look, I'd love to go to Monaco, but I wouldn't go into Chanel Monte Carlo if I wasn't buying anything. Okay, chased her out of there. The essay wants to take the water away. The essay wants to take the water away because she wasn't buying anything today. You walk up in there, you get given water. The essay realized she's not buying anything. Give the water back. Give the water back home. Give it back. Listen, I'm not playing around with Monegasque luxury essays, because the Monte Carlo essays have said, do not come running up in here if you are not buying anything. Yo, I think it is outrageous to try and snatch the water back, but I low-key think it's pretty gangster too. I low-key respect it. And it gives a warning, do not come back here if you have zero intention of buying today. The final one is the Chanel boutique in Madrid in Spain. This is the flagship store. I was really annoyed by my experience at this boutique. The essay was really unhelpful. She was on her phone, ignoring us, really annoyed, which made me feel uncomfortable. Every time I asked for a bag, she said, we don't have it. Then I saw the same bags being shown to clients. Very disappointing, unacceptable from a luxury brand like Chanel. I came to buy, but I left without buying anything. Again, it's that kind of psychological, it's like a psychological trick, I think, that some of these essays play. Like they want to see if you're going to buy today. So they want to make it really unpleasant for you to see if you're going to be like, okay, let me just pay for it now. You know? But then also I think it's a psychological trick to be like, no, we don't have that, and it's being offered to someone else. So you feel like you don't deserve it, so that you buy other things. And then at the end they'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's the bag. It's like a way of like upselling you so that you go and buy other things. It's very sneaky, but there is a lot of reverse psychology. And it works, you guys. or they wouldn't still be rude. They wouldn't still be rude. I wouldn't have more than 100 videos if it didn't work. I know many of you are like, it doesn't work on me, but it works on a lot of people. It's like reverse psychology. So what do you think about today's dragging video? I think my two favorite ones are the Monte Carlo one of the essay trying to snatch the water back. That is pretty ghosted, pretty epic. And then I think the one here, just pulling it up, the one in Munich, where the client tells the essay like that was rude, expected an apology, and got thrown out of the store. I just can't. Chanel is goated for dragging every single person, male, female. You're gonna get dragged pretty hard. Yo, I think it's pretty wild to get thrown out, to get kicked out of security by Chanel. So what else did you say? What else did you say to the essay? Because if you were like, you were really rude, say sorry to me. I'm not saying sorry to you. I'm not saying sorry to you. I don't say sorry to you. I'll be like, girl, bye. I'm not saying sorry, please. You know what I mean? But the Monte Carlo one is definitely my favorite one. Like trying to take, once they realized the person wasn't buying today, they lost interest. Guys, I don't want to defend the Chanel essays today. They've been pretty naughty today. Today's dragging selection has been pretty harsh. The clients have been put through a lot of pain, and they have really suffered. However, I have to say, even for me as a small business owner, on a much tinier scale than Big C, obviously, one of my businesses, we get a lot of telephone orders. We get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of inquiries a day. So many people every single day. We're inundated, and the amount of people just calling to inquire has to be studied. I would never call a business to ask a question about something and not buy. And I think because as a businesswoman, after my experience of running my businesses, I have so much respect for people's time. I remember seeing an ad for these like luxury press-on nails. You'll see them in my shopping haul, which is now going to be in December because so many things are so late to arrive. You'll see them in my luxury haul, which you'll see in December. You'll see my luxury haul in January because so many things have been late to arrive for Christmas. But I remember seeing an ad for these like luxury press-on nails. And they're like high-end luxury press-on nails. They're like handmade. And I remember being like, okay, cool, I want to buy them today. And I remember calling the lady who makes them here. And I was like, cool, process the payment, let's rock and roll. Because that's how I want people to treat my business. And I think it's the same with the luxury businesses as well. And again, you know, sometimes I think I get unfairly critiqued for telling people that they can't browse. I've never said you can't browse. What I said, go to the department stores. I haven't been to New York in many years now. The last time I was there was in 2019. I remember popping into Macy's at Times Square, milling around, looking around, and it was absolutely fine. Looked at so many, you know, high-end glossy brands, went into Bergdorf Goodman. This was before I was filming. Popped in there, looked around, you know, took pictures, did all kinds of things. And no one was annoyed at me. Why? It's a department store. They don't care. They know a lot of people are milling around. But flagships expect you to walk in and know you're buying something. Because why bother coming to a flagship if you're not going to buy something? I think it just makes you feel really awkward and weird. So I think that the person in Monte Carlo, I wouldn't go in there if I wasn't buying something. Me personally, I wouldn't waste my time. My time is valuable. My time is valuable and it is worth something to me. So I wouldn't go in there to not buy anything, especially because it's a standalone store. So when she got the water taken out of her hand, they chased her out of the store. They tried to take the water out of her hand. They didn't succeed. Then they chased her out of the store and basically told her to F off. They're letting her know, do not come back in here to browse or to look around. You can F off. Which is quite insane. Tell me what you think about today's sharing video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I would love to have you on the newsletter. Stick around. We have so many great, fun, exciting things coming. I can't wait to share them all with you. So again, the newsletter is where you need to be. Facebook group is still very active. Would love to see you there. You can post your unboxings. I would love those of you in the Facebook group, if you're watching this or if you'd like to join, I would love for you to post what you got for Christmas. Because when I get my stuff in January, I'm going to post it in the group as well. So I'd love to have you there. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.